Hi, my name is Jenny Killian, and I am the K 8 Literacy Coordinator and Coach at the American School of Barcelona. And today I want to talk to you about how you can support some of your young readers at home. So, the first thing I want to share with you is a little bit about what reading instruction looks like at ASB. So, when we're thinking about literacy development, which is really where, well, we're always thinking about literacy development, but particularly in the early years, these are some of the first skills that we work on with kids. So, beginning even in PK3, we start to develop some of these early literacy concepts. So, these are things like learning how books work, that we read from left to right and top to bottom in English, that capital letters start a sentence. One-to-one matching is a really important skill that we work on for a while. The idea that one spoken word correlates to one written word on the page. Another piece of this is the idea of our name, being able to recognize our name and knowing that our name is always written with the same letters in the same way. Once students start to have these skills, we also begin to build on some phonological awareness, and that's an understanding of sounds. So that's when we'll see lots of games and songs and poems with rhyming words. So hearing that cat and hat and mat all end the same way. It's when kids start to notice that words can be broken into syllables, that some words are longer than others, and that we also begin to work on segmenting and blending words. So the idea is that we can pull apart sounds like k, at, or blend them together to make cat. From there, we also begin to work on letter knowledge. So the idea that there are both uppercase and lowercase letters, and that the alphabet is broken into consonants and vowels, and those make different sounds. And then finally, we also think about letter and sound relationships. So the idea is that, if we look at a word, there's the beginning, the middle, and end of a word, and we can match the letters and sounds in all of those parts. We start to look for things like consonant clusters and digraphs. So the idea that in the word tree, when T and R are together, they make a tr sound. And that in English, our vowels have both a short and a long sound, so they make two sounds. So again, this is a lot of the work that we're doing first thing, particularly in PK, and continuing into kindergarten. So how do we teach these skills? Well, at ASB, we believe in a balanced literacy model, and it's the idea that there are different components that need to be present in order to create literate, independent kids who become adults. So some of these components, and if you look at the left-hand side, those boxes in kind of the teal, the green, are a huge focus in ECC. That's how we deliver a lot of this literacy instruction. So see, there's interactive read aloud. So that's when the teacher's reading aloud a text and having a conversation with kids about it. Shared reading and writing. So that's the idea that kids and the teacher are reading together or writing together. So that often looks like a big book that all the kids are looking at, or a book that's projected on the screen that everyone can see. And then that language word study phonics, so all of that work around letters and sounds. So again, those are three huge components in early childhood. When we move into kindergarten, we start to spend more time with guided reading and writing. And that's the idea in a small group. A teacher has kids at a similar level. They all have the same book, a copy of the same book, and the teacher's teaching them the skills they need to move up in levels of text. So we usually start guided reading in kindergarten, and that's an approach that usually lasts through third or fourth grade, depending on reading level. And then the last piece of these components is the strategy groups and one-to-one conferring. And that's the idea that we're pulling either a group of kids or one student at a time to work on a specific strategy that they need. Strategy groups, I would say, start in PK3, even though we might not call them that, and they last all the way through high school. Same with conferring. So all of these components are leading into reading and writing workshop, which we officially begin in kindergarten. So reading workshop and writing workshop as well have three big components. The first is the mini lesson. So this is a time, it's anywhere from 5 to 12 minutes, when the teacher pulls all the students to the floor, and he or she is teaching them a strategy or a skill they can use to help them with reading or with writing. So that's usually a posted objective. The teacher's using a mentor text that might be a book, or they might be doing some of their own writing and writing workshop. And kids have a chance to practice, and then they're sent off. So the biggest bulk of time in reading workshop is this independent time. And that's anywhere from 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes for the littlest ones, to an hour for kids, middle school, high school. And during this time, this is when the teacher is able to confer with students and pull small groups, like I mentioned. What's beautiful about this time is that it allows for differentiation. So that's the whole point of the workshop model, is that it allows kids lots of time to practice at their level and allows the teacher to work with kids at a variety of levels in the class. The final piece of the workshop is the share portion. So that's usually the last 2 to 5 minutes, and it's a chance to consolidate the learning that's happened. So kids are typically sharing out either with a partner in a small group, as you can see in this top left photo, or the teacher might bring all the kids back to the floor to share what they've learned. So here we just wanted to show you some photos of what this work can look like, or often looks like, in ECC. So here you can see some examples of word work, shared reading, read aloud, and you'll also find some links at the end of this presentation to some videos so you can see what this looks like in action, particularly this year. In addition, literacy centers are always happening in PK and K, and so that's the idea that kids are rotating in small groups through different activities to build their literacy understandings. And so you can see that often that's very tactile, where kids are physically building letters or writing letters in sand or shaving cream, things like that. And it's just another fun, interactive way for kids to practice their literacy skills. And then finally, you can see some more examples here of K-5 read alouds, word work, some shared reading, some mini lessons. But you can see right away how engaged students are and how they're working with partners, working with the teacher, and even working on their own.